It's John Blast, Super Chemist. I think this is part 4. Modern Mother shows son her true colors. And what I was saying in the last video is this is what I'm talking about, how brainwashed they are, okay? Even when I can go show them all the statistics, how 90 relationships, 90% of the time women leave. Marriages, 80% of the time women leave. Okay, when it comes to domestic violence, okay, obviously if they're both, a big chunk of it is just both of them being jerks, being abusive. But if you take only these statistics where it's just one way, 80% of the time women physically abuse men. And trust me, these women are using baseball bats or driving guys over with cars. Trust me, they are not just going up to the guy going like that, okay? 80% of the time, it's the woman beating the man. The same way with the verbal abuse. 80% of the time, the woman is abusing the man, okay? So when the single mother looks down at the girl and says, you got to have an education because men will leave you. Men will beat you. Men will cheat on you. No, no, no. The statistics show the other way around. Really what they're telling their daughter is, when you go get a marriage, I'm teaching you how to destroy that marriage, okay, by treating the man horribly. And then when you leave, you can take half of his assets and you still have your college education. So you don't need that man. He's a horrible man. But you go and show them the statistics, they don't believe their own statistics. The CDC, everybody, the Pew statistics, I can't even think because I'm so hyper strung now, but there are millions of statistics that you can get from the government, from different government agencies, that show all the same thing, that women are abusive, women cheat. Women, actually the cheating part, they're about even, okay? Men slightly cheat more than women. But after this last year, seeing how much women lie, and it's not even, a lot of the time, it's not even that they're lying, it's that they put emotion above facts. That's what it is. Their brain is geared to put emotions above facts. So they're not really lying, they're putting their emotions up here, even though they're crazy, over these facts that are logical. Yeah. So you can show them, that's how, I've always said men are horrible, right? All my life I've agreed. All my family's sitting there saying, yeah, men are horrible. They did this. And I'm like, yeah, they are horrible. Yep, men are horrible. But what was I basing that on? I was only basing it on my single mother and all her single mother children telling me this. All the people that hate men telling me this. But when I looked at the statistics, it's the opposite. It's the other way around. Yeah. So, you know what I did? I changed my opinion. I changed my view. But see, these people, these women, they're so brainwashed. They don't care what statistics are. They don't care. They don't care that 80% of all of the entire black population in the United States, they don't care that 80% of them are born into single mother homes now. That 41% of the entire population in the USA, 41% of children are born into single mother homes. They don't care. And the children that are raised, only by single mothers, that's like 18% of the population of the kids. 18% of the kids in this country are not only born into a single mother home, but they are raised in a single mother home their whole childhood, or most of their childhood. 18%. But yet 90% of runaways run away from single mother homes. 90% of runaways that, come back to the parent after a month or whatever, 90% they're from single mother homes. 80% here, I don't have the thing here, but 80% are, here we go, here. 63%, even though 18% are raised by single mothers, 63% of the youth suicides, kid suicides, 63% come from single mother homes. 71% high school dropouts, 70% kids in mental institutions, 80% kids in prisons, 85% of kids with severe behavioral disorders, rapists. 80% of our rapists come from single mother homes, even though there's only 18% of our kids are raised by single mothers. Only 18% are raised by. We could literally get rid of homeless kids, runaway kids, dropouts, prison kids, disordered kids, rapist kids, teen pregnancy. We can get rid of all of this. All we have to do is stop having single mothers. That's it. 81% of teenage pregnancies from single mother homes. They create their victimology, right? Right? They create 80% of the rapists, even though they're only 18% of the only 18% of the kids are raised by single mothers. They create 80% of the rapists, and then they point. So they love it. And when you point it out to this, they don't care, because they know if they change things, how could they point at men and say, look, they're rapists. Look, all men are rapists. Well, they're the ones creating the rapist. It's insane. They create, just like with my mother and the first husband. She created all the drama. She created all the hate. And she cheated and left him. And then called him a horrible person. And then I see my other siblings, right? Like, one comes up from out of state, right? Of course, he drives the 16 hours a day to drive up here, right? Obviously. For a week, he follows her around like a little puppet, little puppy dog, little nobody, right? Does everything she wants, everything whenever she wants, doesn't bat an eye. You want to do that? Let's go do it. Yo, here's some money. Oh, let's do this. Let's do that. And then after a week, 8 days or whatever it was, he's still doing it, even to the last day. All day long, does what she wants. And then it's 9 o'clock at night, and they're at the bar. He says, well, I got to wake up in the mornings because I have to drive 16 hours, to get us. He doesn't say all this, but he basically says he wants to go back home. But he's got to get up in the morning to drive 16 hours to get home while she just sleeps there. Is she grateful about that? No. He's not saying you got to come home with me. He's saying, listen, you could stay out all night, man. You could stay out till in the morning when we're leaving. I don't care. But I just want to go home and just relax, make sure I have all my stuff packed up, because I'm going to be driving tomorrow to take us home. That's all he said. She started crying. And keep in mind, we were only like 7 minutes away from where they were staying. You know what I mean? At the sister's house. She could have just drove him home, came back, and lost 15 minutes of time. But she started crying, telling him how he's a horrible man. And then I was going to get up and actually stick up with him, you know what I mean? Then he started getting pissy, right? And I was like, well, screw it, And then what did she do? She turned around to tell us all, see, look how mean he is. Look how horrible men are. Oh my God, look how horrible. Just like my mother. Yeah, she admits that she told him that he was the leader. He never did anything wrong, but she still argued with him every second of the day that he was home. And then she blamed him. Look how horrible he is. And then she cheats on him and leaves him. And she's still pointing at him, saying that he's the horrible one. He's the horrible one. Just like the sister. Look how horrible he is. Look how horrible. And then like the other sister, right? She belittles him. Okay, constantly. Thousands of jokes every second. Jokes. They're all just jokes. Belittling him and putting him down. Okay? And, and then last year we're at the bar. And he got drunk, and for no reason, none. He just started acting like a jerk, like you're a bitch. And then he just left, just went home. And what did she do? Look what he does. Look how he treats me. Look how he treats me. Look. And I didn't think of nothing of it, because this was before this year that I started actually paying attention and opening my eyes and looking and seeing. And all I see. And then I asked her, too, when did he start drinking? That he's, because she says he gets drunk and then he acts like a jerk, texts me, calling me bitch and all this stuff. I'm like, well, didn't he drink the entire time? Like when you met him, they were drinking, right? Oh yeah, we were drinking. Well, when did he turn? Was it like a week or a month or even 6 months where he was just hiding it and then it came out because that's who he is? No, no, no. It took years, 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 a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, for him to start acting like a jerk. Only when he's drunk, though. Okay, this guy is so nice that he can't. She's treating. And then I'm thinking back in my memory. I don't know. I never hung out with them really back in the day. But I hang out with them now, and she just constantly belittles him. Everything he does. Here's an example. We're all up there, right? And he drives up. We're all in a cookout type thing, And he gets out of the car and says, oh, there's this kid, probably 18 years old, just broke down on the side of the road on it with his motorcycle. So he says, oh, I got out, and I looked at his motor or whatever, and took me a minute or two, and then I realized, oh, he's out of gas. So I gave him a little bit of gas so he could get home or get to the gas station or whatever. Instantly, the girlfriend says, you are, and this is verbatim, you are a loser. You are so pathetic. Everyone just takes advantage of you, and you just give them everything, and you are so pathetic. And then, of course, every single mother that's related to me started for 5 minutes, I swear to God, for 5 minutes. They berated this man, calling him a loser, calling him pathetic. How he lets everyone take advantage. I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, of course you wouldn't have, because you're a woman. Woman would never help anyone. But yeah, they berated him. What happens to a society when you have all the single mothers telling all the men when they help someone and be nice and be good that they're actually a loser? What happens to your society? It turns into a ghetto, like the blacks. Like they tell all their kids, oh, hey, you know what? If you dress for success, you're acting white. If you talk properly, you're acting white. If you get good grades, you're acting white. If you go to college, you're acting white. And what is white? White means you're evil, white, racist. So they literally tell their children, success, if you're successful at anything, dressing, talking, grades, job, that means you're an evil, white, racist. So never do that. Then they grow up and they don't succeed, and then they all say, oh, it's the white man's fault. The white man wasn't in the ghetto telling that kid that every time he tried to do something successful, like dress normal, talk normal, get good grades, he wasn't there telling them how it's horrible not to do that. No, it was the single mother. It was all the black people in the neighborhood. It was the schools, the TV, and etc. Okay? And now I lost my train of thought of what I was even talking about. But they do this. They create their own problems. Yes, after years or a year or more of my sister berating and belittling and making joke after joke at his expense, saying, I don't respect you. Yes, then after you did all that to him, then yes, when he got drunk, he started calling you a bitch. I would be calling you a bitch too. I would be calling you a bitch the first month before I even fucking had a drink. I wouldn't even have to do anything. I would be calling you a bitch on day one. This man is so honorable that he can't even, when this constant abuse from her, this constant jokes. Oh, I'm just joking. Yeah, your jokes are every 50,000 jokes every second. That's not a joke at that point. This belittling and putting him down. He's so honorable, he can't even call her a bitch. Unless it takes a year, 2, 3 years before he can have the nerve to be that mean, to call her a bitch. But it ain't being mean. He's just so nice. He's such a great guy that he can't even say when she's abusing him that, hey, you're a bitch, stop that. He waits for years of abuse. And then only then when he's drunk at his drunkest, then it comes out that, hey, I can't stand being abused by you every second of our relationship. Every second that we're talking together. Every second that we sit together. You told me to shut up every second. I've seen many times where she just comes up and we're sitting there. Yins all just shut up. Just like a non-binary. Yins all shut up and listen. I got things to say. Yins are all just men.